My name is Jim Briggs. I'm the Executive Director of the School of Applied Theology. I'm here today with Michael Crosby, a teacher, writer, retreat leader. Michael has 15 books to his credit, the latest being Repair My House. So Michael, it's been an honor all these years to have you with us at SAT, and over the course of these years you've experienced different groups of folks, but I'm curious as to what you would see as what's touched you the most deeply about the participants in this program and how they benefit.
I think a lot of people come with deep feelings of either have been hurt or unappreciated. And they have worked their tails off. And they have done wonderful things. But what has been most tiring is not the physical work, but the psychological tension of not being affirmed or unappreciated or being hurt by people maybe with power. And I think the sabbatical, remember a sabbatical, they shall not enter into my rest. There's a thing about the resting that enables the healing to take place. The sharing of the pain that frees the people from it by being able to name it. And to then be able to be free enough to let go. And in the letting go, they get renewed and fly like an eagle. Something happens when you take a sabbatical, which by definition means you take a rest from, to be renewed in a jubilee for a new creation. And I think you're finding a lot of people leave very renewed and a lot more hopeful than when they came. It's about relationships. It's about healing hurts and helping the health develop.
I think you've captured that beautifully. We see them when they first come. They're in various stages of exhaustion and burnout, sometimes feeling, again, a great deal of frustration and anger that I think goes back to what you said in terms of relationships and sometimes the lack of affirmation. Let me change the subject a bit. I know one of the subjects dear to your heart is mysticism, and you're going to be with us this June for our summer program presenting on that very topic. Why at this point in time in the church do you think mysticism is such an important topic?
Well, that is a subject dear to my heart. What brought me to this insight is the realization of what, and the need of what Rahner actually said. The Christian, i.e. the believer, the practitioner of the future will be a mystic or nothing at all. I think what we're learning from science about the world, quantum, what neuroscience is telling us about consciousness, we're seeing what Sam Keen, who's supposed to be an atheist, and a pretty avowed atheist, himself honoring the reality of mysticism. Mysticism is something that happens on your way to Damascus, whatever your way is. Might be down the highway, but it's on the way to Damascus. You're thinking you're going to do this, you're thinking you're going to do that. Boom, something happens, and in that happening, that experience, Tim, you feel something pervading your whole being. And in that feeling, you feel connected to everyone and everything. And you say, for us who believe, that's God. That's what God is about. The one who is the universal connector, the universal connecting, the universal connection. And what then that makes you feel called to do is that with a new lens, I want to be the connector. I want to be connected. I want connection. I don't want separation. I don't want division. I don't want them and us. I want to be in you. I want you to be in me. I want us to be one. I want communion. And I think people are longing for that. They might not know it, but when they hear it, they say, yes, you put words on what I long for.
I think you stated that very clearly and beautifully. I think for many people there's a lot of mystery in mysticism, in the sense that they think it's reserved for the elite, the very holiest of holy. And the way you've described it, it's for everyone and it's accessible to everyone. It's just a question of how do we do that?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, on another topic, Pope Francis will be the Pope for 2 years when we get to March of 2015. And I'm just curious about how you would sum up the difference that he's trying to make in the church, and also what that difference means in terms of your own personal response to him, given the writings, especially in Repair My House.
Well, it's interesting that you've asked that, because when I wrote Repair My House, I thought, well, this is the vision of the church of the future, moving from more of a legalistic, separatistic group to be a group that comes out of the realization of what the world is telling us. Creation, so cosmic, Christic, conscious, connected, contemplative, compassionate community. So I had those 7 C's. That's where I think we're going. And I wrote that before Pope Francis. But what has happened since is I've ended up writing another book on Galatians, Paul's letter to the Galatians. And it turns out recent scholarship is saying that Paul was not against the law. He was against what's called covenantal nomism. Nomos is the word for law. That the Jews that he was fighting against, it wasn't all the Jews, but the Jews that he was fighting against were trying to say that you had to follow this law of the Mosaic covenant, not Abraham, where it's everybody is part of the family of Abraham and Sarah and Leah. No, not that one. But it was what was called covenantal nomism, which basically was saying, we are who we are and you're not us. And the Pope is saying that thinking is wrong. And we have to be open. We can't be closed into that way of thinking. It's closed-mindedness. It is not what Jesus was about. And so I, in my book, am now calling it not covenantal nomism, but canonical nomism, which means the laws that have been made that are preserving the male, the clerical law of the church that says this is the group that has the power. And under the last 2 popes, whether or not they said it, but a lot of people thought that's what they said, and they created a them and an us church. And the Pope, I think, got elected by saying, we can't be closed. We got to be open. And if you look at what they say was the great statement that he made before the actual conclave, he was saying we can't be a closed group. And we become more and more enclosed around clerical patriarchy. And he's saying we got to be around mercy. We have to be around bringing people in, not telling them they're out. The law will have its place, but the basic law is the law of love. And he's trying to get us back to that.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, for these minutes with me and for your wholehearted, enthusiastic, and robust answers to my questions. I truly appreciate it. You're a gift to us. You're a gift to the church. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's always great to be here.